Hello folks and welcome to Fun Tune Fridays, and we have a magazine for you. Now before we start the magazine, let's talk trivia. Now last week's subject was a bit of a love and marriage kind of thing. This time we're looking at people and places, I suppose you might say. So here's the question. And the question is, which intersection does Lou Reed recommend for the keen seeker of drugs in the Velvet Underground song I'm Waiting for the Man? Again, which intersection does Lou Reed recommend for the keen seeker of drugs in the Velvet Underground song I'm Waiting for the Man? So, obviously one for Velvet Underground fans of Lou Reed, and I suppose more specifically my American friends who may have the advantage in this particular one. May I ask you not to immediately run off to Google and check out the lyrics. Have a little think. Just a bit of fun, and I will answer that question at the end of this video. In the meantime, let's go to the magazine. Now, before I dive in, I'm going to show you the products themselves here in front of you. I don't normally do this really because I've always been of the opinion that you want a fast run through, something that's not going to hang around too long and you can get on with your lives. And I wonder if you want to see the actual records. Now, when I do these magazines, I don't cut and paste off the internet. I'm not just picking stuff out of thin air. I have this stuff. Everything I talk about, I have here. That's why I'm talking about it, because I can see it, I can check it, I know it's real, I know the product is fine, I know it sounds okay, I know the packaging is acceptable. That's when it goes onto the magazine. Now, do you want to see it? Because I've asked this question once before. I got a grand total of one reply, and hello, sorry, I've forgotten your name. But one reply to say, yes, we want to see the records in the magazine, which I'm sure you'll agree is not exactly a tidal wave of response. So I ask you again, do you want to see these records? Do you want to see the evidence of the records themselves in the video? Would it help you? Does it matter? Do you care? So for this particular video, you'll see what I mean, because I'm going to show you the records themselves. Any road up. We have CD reviews for you. We've got a couple of those. And there's a book review in there for you, but we're going to begin with vinyl news. And let's begin with Sparks. I've got some albums here. Actually, one's missing. I couldn't find one of them. I've got four. I'm going to talk about five, because I do have a swathe of Sparks electro musical irony here, and they've all crashed on my desk via BMG. And irony is a big thing with Sparks, I would say. The albums I cover here, well, with that missing one, I don't know where I put it. Anyway, it's around somewhere, covered between the year 2000 and 2009, and they feature, the first one is Balls. I've always wanted to say that on these videos. Balls. This one is called Balls, and it's from the year 2000, and it offers quirky music, and there's lots of intelligence here, and there's a sense of grandeur. Imagine, if I was going to compare, imagine the Pet Shop Boys with Heaven 17, plus added razor blades. Next up is Lil Beethoven, 2002 this was released in, and it grabs orchestrations, strings, piano, choral voices, and it sort of plays with them like a child plays with a toy. It's full of irreverence. Hello Young Lovers was the album released in 2006, and this is it, and it continues with that classical fusion. There's innovation, I would say, and a whole heap of inspiration. It can be hard-hitting, but it's always done in the best possible taste. Exotic Creatures of the Deep from 2008 is what you can see here, and it provides shiny new Beach Boys-esque vocal harmonies combined with a sort of Mark Bolan-esque glam rock and a sense of grand opera. It's quite a mix. And the one I can't find, and I'm sure I'll find it exactly the moment this video ends, is The Seduction of Ingmar Bergman. That was released initially in 2009. Speaking of opera, this is an operatic musical full of mood changes. It's got a host of wit, and it has a fictional Bergman tale of the man's journey to Hollywood. Next up, we have a couple from the Inside Out label. Inside Out is an imprint. It belongs to Sony. First up, we have Prog Rockers 3, specifically Mr. DeVillio. Is it DeVillio? Always get that name wrong. Plus Morse and Jennings, and they're doing a good impression of Crosby, Stills and Nash on this album called Troika. So you've got vocal harmonies, you've got your bongos, and you've got your strumming acoustics, and it's very nice. We also have prog metal from the Symphony X founder, Michael Romeo's War of the Worlds Part 2, which is rhythmic, it's powerful and accessible, I would say. This is a blockbuster of a science fiction outing. This is my pick of the three, in fact, my pick of this entire video. It's by a Chinese band called I'm not quite sure. I don't really know. The album name is called One. So everything's to the point here. The interesting part of this is that you do have prog and you do have prog metal with a vocal that can sound a little bit like the shoegazers' Lush. It's quite a combination. So we've got two Chinese blokes on guitars, and they're very good indeed. We have an amazing white guy, and I apologize because I haven't checked out the names. It's a failing of mine, so forgive me. We have an amazing white guy on drums, and we have a sparkling female vocalist fronting the band, and her name is, I think it's Lin Wu, W-U, Lin Wu. Remember her, she is going places. This album is different, it's good, it's actually very good, and I highly recommend it. This one, as you can see, is a white label promo, and it's from two Norwegian chaps based in Berlin. I think that's where they are now. Soft as Snow is what they call themselves. The individuals, again, please forgive me if you're watching this, Oda Edgar Starheim, I hope that's right, or even close, plus Øystein Monsen. Again, apologies if I've got that wrong. This new album, which is called Bit Rot, I'll put a Bandcamp link below, it arrives on coloured vinyl. It offers a blend of experimental electro with treated vocals, there's some aggression in there, and lots of corners. But let me bring it quickly to camera because the colour is subtle. So, as you can see, Soft as Snow, Bit Rot, and this is the A-side. And you can see there's a sort of splatter, I suppose more marble, if not really splatter at all. It's more marbling effect, isn't it? And you can see why I brought this to camera. It's a little bit subtle. It's very nice in a subtle way. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see here on the video, but the colour is a sort of greeny, browny colour. I'm not sure if that comes over on the image there. Subtle, but very nice indeed. And new from the 80s German synth pop outfit Propaganda isn't. In fact, it's xPropaganda members Claudia Brucken and Susanne Freitag, and they are back as xPropaganda, which is their little joke. I hope you got it. The Heart is Strange is the name of this album, and it's on the ZTT label. How would you describe this? Romantic krautrock. There's my stab. There's a certain charm and sentiment combined with the technology, which is here too. And finally, in the new section, we have Three Colors Red, and this is a reissue of the band's second album. It's called Revolt. It comes from the audiophile record label Demon from the UK, and it's a reissue of the band's 1999 original. Personally, I thought the poppy tracks, that particular direction, were more notable than the punk retreads, which are also on this LP. And that's your vinyl news. Hope you liked it. Let me know what you thought of the presentation. And now we will go to CD reviews. First up, we have Steve Ellis and this box set, which is called Finchley Boy on the Ed Cell label. Yes, it's called Finchley Boy, although he was actually born in Edgware. Ellis started early in his musical career at the grand old age of 15, when he fronted the local North London outfit Soul Survivors. They were signed to CBS, and they changed their name immediately to Love Affair. Now, whether he likes it or not, Ellis will always be associated with that 60s group, and their subsequent big hit single, dripping in power soul vibrations, Everlasting Love. But that is not Steve Ellis. Well, not all of it, as this 10 CD box set shows. The first CD is packed with Love Affair recordings. CD 2 includes a lost Ellis LP from 1969. CD 3 features a Joe Orton soundtrack for the film version of Loot. CD 4 pairs him with Zoot Money and 2 albums released in 1972. After that is the cult band Widowmaker on CD 5, featuring Ariel Bender from Mott the Hoople and Hugh Lloyd Langton from Hawkwind. In 1976, we look at the Last Angry Man solo album. On CD 6, Basement Days in 1983 for CD 7, Best of Days from CD 8, and that includes work with Paul Weller. You also get Steve Marriott Memorial concert work on CD 9 and a copy of the latest album on CD 10 called Boom Bang Twang from 2018. Now, I'm not a fan of the included booklet. Well, some of it. From page 16, it's packed with excellent track credit information, rare photos and more. Before page 16, most of the photographs are crazily small, and the font is so tiny as to be on the subatomic scale. I struggled to read it. What I did manage to read was absolutely fascinating, but the mechanics of reading, well, they were difficult. A long box format would have been a better production choice here. As for the mastering, well, don't forget this is a compilation of sorts. It's nicely balanced, there's lots of energy, and it's broadly neutral. As I say, you've got different types of music from different sources, different time periods, so just bear that in mind. And for our next and final CD review, another box set, this time from Steeleye Span. The set is called Good Times of Old England, Steeleye Span, 1972 to 1983, and it arrived to me from my good friends at Chrysalis. Now, this is a 12 CD box set plus booklet, and it is jam-packed with goodness. So jam-packed with goodness is it that when you take off the shrink wrap, it does this. Yes, the music is just dying to get out. Now, despite the box set's venture into the 80s, this 12 CD box set has been created to tackle the 70s, really, and to bring a sense of order and, well, closure onto the work from the band from that time. Okay, apart from the BBC sessions, they're not here, but hopefully we'll see those in the near future. Even so, this set goes a long way in addressing gaps and misses. Of the 12 discs here, 9 feature studio works with extra tracks, which is nice to see and look good in their card sleeves. They include Below the Salt from 1972, Parcel of Rogues from 73, Now We Are Six from 74, Commoner's Crown from 75, All Around My Hat, remember the hit single from 75, Rocket Cottage from 76, Stormforce 10 from 77, and Sales of Silver from 1980. You also get Live at Last from 78. Of particular note, though, are two live concerts. The first is from the Rainbow Theatre in London from 74. The second examines the 1976 US tour, in particular Boston Barclay Performance Centre. Both of these concerts represent the very first time that the band have been featured in an officially released live concert. You'll also find a 1982 Australian tour concert, which was initially released in Australia as On Tour, imaginative, hey, and later Gone to Australia. They were full of ideas around this time. That was from 2001. There are additional tracks from the Live at Last concert for the first time here. Also look out for two previously unreleased tracks, Singing the Travels from 72 and Devil's Dream from 75. I'm particularly happy to hear about New York Girls, which is an outtake featuring Goon Man Peter Sellers, and I'm a sad fan of the Goons, so that cheered me up no end. In mastering terms, well, the mastering has been, how can I put this, enhanced. So you get a little bit of mid-range compression, but there's nothing here which is overly egregious, I would say. The mastering delivers the folk articulation alongside some surprisingly rocking crunch. And if all you know of this band is All Around My Hat, that pop chart hit, you may need to look at this box set if you're into 70s rock and if you like prog. There's some surprising stuff in here, and that's the CD reviews. Let's look at a book review and then you can put the kettle on. And the book is this whopper. It's Moon Age Daydream, The Life and Times of Ziggy Stardust, authored by David Bowie himself, with photographs from Mick Rock. It was published, or has been published, via Genesis, priced at £49.95, spanning 328 pages. So yeah, as you can see, and let's get this out the way first, shall we? This is a big book spanning 36 by 26 centimeters, which is what, 14 inches by 10. The large format allows, as you can imagine, Mick Rock's images to come to life. So you can zoom in and you can examine each area of one photograph. But this book is not merely a collection of large format images. The design moves from, say, one large image to a mosaic of smaller photographs, arranged, sized, and framed in the variety of ways that keeps the interest as you turn your page. Of greater interest are the notes from David Bowie himself, who offers a wealth of extended annotations. For example, Bowie performed an eagle mime in the summer of 1973, which is illustrated in this book. But during the annotation, he remembers performing this same mime in 1968 at a T-Rex show. In the mime was an allegory of the Chinese invasion of Tibet, and word got out that this mime would be occurring, and what the content was, well, the whole concert was invaded by a horde of Maoists who turned up, shaking their little red books at David Bowie. Mark Bolan, he thought the whole thing was wonderful. David Bowie, on the other hand, well, he trembled with anger. This is a brilliant book. And that's your lot. But before we go, you need an answer to that trivia question, and here it is. But of course, we'll just do a reminder of that question, shall we? And it is, which intersection does Lou Reed recommend for the keen seeker of drugs in the Velvet Underground song, I'm Waiting for the Man? And the answer is Lexington 125, the protagonist of the song, which first appeared on the album The Velvet Underground and Nico in 1967, waits for his drug dealer at the intersection of the Uptown Street, Lexington Avenue, and the Crosstown Street, 125th Street in Harlem. So now you know. Thank you very much for staying to the end of this video, and if I could ask you down there somewhere if you could click on the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already done so, And in the description, there are chapter headings which you can use to navigate around this video. There are links to my Facebook group, my website, and Patreon page. Support from that would be much appreciated. It funds this channel. And I will be back on Monday with something hi-fi-like. And it'd be great to have your company. So, until then, folks, bye-bye for now.